Keep it stupid simple. How can I simplify the model that I'm in as much as possible? That's what I want all of us to think about kind of almost all the time. I create content, I get people into my program, I service the people. At the core of anything that you'll ever do in life, if you want to do it successfully, you have to keep it simple. If you want to be a good Christian, no one is good except for God. If you want to be a Christian whose heart is devoted to God, there are three things you need to do. Number one, you have to have communion with God, meaning praise and worship and prayer. Number two, you have to understand who God is, meaning you have to understand His Word, you have to be in His Word. Number three is you have to be in the body of God. This is why church is important. A lot of entrepreneurs right now in the space who are coming to God saying they don't see the value in church is very thematic and explicit in Scripture that being in the body of Christ is very important. Being in church and outwardly loving out into the community, loving your neighbor. So praise and worship, understanding who God is by reading the Word, and then being in the body of Christ, loving that neighbor. If you want to create a good baseball team, incredibly simple. You have to have a good pitching element, a good hitting element, and a good defending element. Everything comes down to very simple breakdowns. And my way of simplifying is to breaking it out into a core three. What are the core three things that I need to do in order to succeed at the venture that I'm trying to succeed at? Doesn't matter what it is, business, life, sports, etc. And it's very easy to get caught up in complication. In fact, most entrepreneurs, I would say in business, turning this to business, most entrepreneurs, I keep picking that up and throwing it. I don't know why. It's like the mess drives me insane, but I also don't want it in my hands. Most entrepreneurs think that complexity is how they grow business, that to grow a business, it must be operationally sound. Everything has to be dialed into a T. The best businesses must have these things that I don't have, these complexities that I don't even know about. And I just want to break some walls for you guys. Number one, every business that I've seen doing millions of dollars a month operationally have just the bare minimum to be able to sustain that amount of cash. Meaning, I've seen businesses at $1.7 to $2.5 million a month that are running their entire CRM on Airtable or G Sheets, or some companies that are doing $500,000 a month that don't even use Zapier or any type of automation. You'd be amazed at how messy some large companies are. And the reason for it is that they understand realistically that there's only three things that they have to do in business. Every single business requires three things. Today, I'm going to give you, I hope, the most simple way of understanding how you need to build your business every single day. There's not a CTA at the end of this video. There's nothing that's going to make you want to work with me during this video. This is just a reprogramming of your mind so that hopefully by the end of this video, you look at your day, question whether or not you actually did the right things today, but tomorrow, absolutely knowing how to conquer the day, how to grow in business, how to spend 2 hours working toward the business tomorrow based on the 2-hour rule we talked about before. If you want to go watch that video for free, how to spend those 2 hours so that you have the longest return on investment, your investment being time over a long time scale. The three things that you have to do to grow any business are generate eyeballs, liquidate eyeballs, engage eyeballs. Business needs three people. You can't have one person that does all three of these. But you need someone who gets eyes. So someone who gets eyeballs. Their only job in the business is to get eyeballs. Number two is you have someone who turns eyes into money, right? And so converting. Then after that, you have just the business side. So operations, HR, legal, finance, etc. You have a business guy, conversions guy, get eyes guy. I've said this time and time again, but no one really understands. And to be honest with you, even I get caught up in this sometimes. Some of my favorite, most unproductive days that feel productive are days where I'm working on operations, days where I'm working on Monday.com charts or Close.com smart views, or working with developers on my automations on the back end. Days where I'm like, wow, this stuff looks really cool, but 6 months down the road, a year down the road, none of it actually matters because I end up updating all of it or scrapping it or changing the projects, whatever be it. Most of what feels productive when growing a business is really just complexity. We love complexity as business owners because it feels productive. It feels like the stuff that no one else has or knows about that we now have in our business that's going to make our business grow. But the core three to any business is generate, liquidate, engage. You have to generate eyeballs, meaning you have to create attention every single day. You have to liquidate, meaning you have to create marketing and sales assets. And then you have to engage, meaning you have to service your clients. I need to get attention. So I need to make a video every single day. I need to do some kind of outreach, create some kind of sales page, create some kind of product to get, whatever it is, I need to get something that gets people into my program every day. And then number three, I need to service or fulfill those people every single day. So if I'm not doing something every single day that helps me get more attention, I'm now breaking one of the things I have to do every single day. Like every single day, I need to get attention. If you think about your core three every single day being, I need to do something to generate attention, I need to create assets that help me sell and market my product, and then I have to fulfill the service or product that I'm selling to people. If that is all that you do every single day, over a long enough time horizon, there's no chance that you don't succeed. Where we start to get distracted is in these complexities that naturally creep in. I need to have a better CRM. I need to get these things automated. I need to have a VA gather attention and do my outbound prospecting so I can do X thing. But unless you have a well-built business and you can delegate one one of those three to someone who's very skilled, those core three should never be delegated. The biggest correlation between all of the leaders of any category in any business, mine of course being coaching, whether you're an agency, whether you're in brick and mortar, it could be that you're a chiropractor, whatever be it, the owner of the company is focused above all else on creating attention, generating eyeballs that are looking at their offer, their business, etc. That does not ever get delegated. But every day it's like, did I do something that gets me more attention today? And I'm not saying like if you created the content and it didn't get the viewership that you were looking for, the fruit comes. It's that, did you sow the seeds that get attention? Most beginners, meaning anyone sub $100,000 a month, they try to delegate it. They try to batch their content. For one day a month, they try to create content. This is why it blows my mind when people are like, I'm gonna batch content. It's like, why? Why not just do content every single day? Like there's three things we need to do. Content is one of them. Why not just do that every single day? It's your job. That to me, I look at it as my job. I don't want to do it half the time. That's why I didn't do it for the last year, and I failed in my job. I would have got fired. Had God not been a loving God, he would have fired me from the position that I think he hired me for. They have VAs do their outbound prospecting. They hire media buyers or agencies to do their ads to create attention. Whatever it is, everyone's delegating attention, which is the last thing that any successful business owner delegates. Every single business owner that I know, including myself, and I'm not going to lump myself into this group, everyone that I know that does well is focusing above all else on attention. But beginners, for some reason, are like, no, you know what? That's the first thing I actually want to delegate. And then after that, they focus all of their time, beginners do, on sales and marketing. They optimize their sales scripts, or they try to optimize their sales scripts. They try to optimize different parts about their funnel, and they try to look at what these pros are doing with their funnel builds and then mimic the exact same stuff. But in reality, they're trying to optimize very low throughput because they're not getting attention because they're not focused on attention. Sales and marketing, incredibly important, much less important than getting attention. I would rather have a business, I've seen this firsthand, I'd rather have a business that has immense amounts of attention and less efficiency on sales and marketing than incredibly high efficiency on sales and marketing and less attention. Most entrepreneurs have that flipped, and they're focusing on sales and marketing, less so on attention. Or instead of focusing on sales and marketing, you're trying to hire a sales agency, you're trying to hire agencies to create ads, or you're batching out your content, and you're focused on product. If anything, I guess you could say more honorable than trying to focus on sales and marketing. People that are focusing on product feel like they are doing business the right way, but in reality, your product will cease to exist unless you have enough attention to actually fund the company to service or sell that product. I remember with my first company, I was so focused on sales scripts, training my sales team, making sure the CRM was dialed in, doing all these different automations and touch points to help with show rate. Everything that was focused on after generation of lead to hopefully closing a deal. What happened between, that's my entire focus was on that. And my business partner at the time, his focus was on running the ads for our clients. And then because he was already running ads, we were like, hey, you can also just throw some B2B ads. And they were not anything against, we were brand new to the space. They were terrible. They were still images with a little bit of a text and not great copy. And for some reason, that never was an alarm bell to us as to, hey, we probably should focus on attention for our business above all else. Instead, we were trying to be efficient with the leads that were coming in instead of efficient with the things that generated the leads, and then trying to help our clients out the most. And then because we recognized, hey, we need to get better at lead generation, we hired an agency to try to help us with the B2B stuff. They sucked and that didn't work out well. All to say, it was never our priority. And throughout, I don't know how to word this other than just naming the mistakes that I've made. But even if you look at my YouTube channel in the last 2 years, when I created attention, creating everyday videos versus not creating attention, there was a direct correlation to the business that I got in. My clients were instilling this new value inside of my mastermind that you have to have daily content going out because of how powerful it is. Casey and I sat daily video for 700 something days. 10 million subscribers came from it. He was less than 100K when he first started, or like less than 50K. 10 million subscribers came from 700 days of posting every single day. He says it's the best thing that's ever happened to him. I say creating content is the best thing that I've ever done. Nate's now doing it. He's like, it's amazing. Brian Clogg did it for however long. That's what grew his business to business awareness. I can't stress this enough. Just like, am I sowing every single day attention? And as soon as they start doing it, we almost use the word miraculous. It just changes your perspective toward it. It changes your business as a whole, and it changes your perspective toward it. If you want one takeaway from this, it's gonna be creating content every single day. I'll get to that in a second. But the very first thing we start working on with any new mastermind member is attention. I'm not trying to CTA this stuff. I'm just using this as an example. There are two main types of businesses in the world of business. There's demand or attention constrained businesses, and then there's product constrained businesses. Meaning you either have a business that cannot grow because you do not have enough attention on the business, meaning if you were able to generate more leads, the business would grow, or the business is constrained because you can't take on more clients, or you can't sell any more product because you're sold out of product, you have supply chain issues, you don't have enough team members to help service, whatever it is, you're product or service constrained. Very few businesses are product or service constrained. Most businesses, 90+%, are constrained from attention, meaning they don't have enough attention on their business. And yet, it is almost always the very last thing that business owners care about. The guys that I know that have made far more money than me, they focus on one of two things. If they're an organic business, they focus on creating content every single day. The ones that are paid businesses, paid media, ad-centric businesses, they are focused on their ads library every single day. They're focused on new creatives. They're focused on ad copy. They're focused on the things that generate attention. Of course, funnel and such is important, but here's the real sauce. When you recognize that attention is the most lucrative skill set, like if you actually think about it, the people who get paid the most are the people who generate the most amount of attention. Meaning, if you look at Iman Gadji and Hormozi, very, very skilled in business, they make a majority of their money because as a byproduct of the amount of attention that they can accumulate. Jeremy Haynes with ads, to throw a different perspective in there. He's very good when it comes to funnels and such, of course, but he generates attention with ads. That is what he's known for. That's why he gets paid so well with his agency for running ads, creating good funnels, good copy, good sales letters. Very lucrative skill set, not as lucrative as creating attention. You'll find agencies and freelancers that are very good copywriters that can write really good sales letters, good sales pages. You'll find people who can create very good funnels. I'm partnered with a company that creates amazing funnels. And while they'll be expensive, you really won't find anyone who's world-class at generating attention who's going to do it for you versus doing it for their own business. Minus people like Jeremy who do it via ads. And if they do it via ads, if they're generating you attention via ads, they're going to be incredibly expensive, rightfully so. They're generating the most valuable thing that your business can have. That comes at a very high price tag. Attention is the most important part of business. So I'm going to ask you as a business owner, out of the core three: generating, liquidating, engaging. Generating attention, creating attention for your business, getting people to actually see you and see what you're saying. Liquidating attention, meaning sales and marketing, and then engaging, your service or product. Fulfilling and optimizing, developing your product. Out of all three of those, where is the majority of your time? Are you completely focused, like most businesses, on liquidating attention, trying to get better at liquidating the people that come through the door, instead of recognizing that you can just try to get better, increase the skill set, and increase the amount of people coming through the door in the first place? Most people do not focus enough on attention, and I know it sounds crazy because everyone right now is doing this massive push toward getting personal brands and creating content and such. Creating attention is the most valuable skill set in the world. Who cares about personal brand? It's a byproduct of getting really good at creating attention. Most people don't know how to create attention. Most people don't focus on creating attention. Most people, it's a part of their business, and so they batch out content once a week, once a month. Blows my mind. The guys that I know that are doing really well, a majority of their time spent toward creating attention. My daily activity, you guys know this, creating a video every single day that creates attention. Are you creating attention every single day in your business? After you do your creating attention activity, are you then focusing on creating something in your marketing assets and your sales assets that helps liquidate the attention? And then after that, are you optimizing and developing product, servicing and fulfilling product every single day? That is how I fill my workday. I try to get it all done within 2 hours. Sometimes I bleed over, but that is the focus of every single day. I know I'm done with my day when I've checked off all three. And that is why I don't care doing all the operational stuff on the back end. My operations only matter to the point of breaking, meaning I don't need to optimize for future growth. I just need to make sure my operations can handle what I'm currently doing. And as long as I'm there, I don't need to focus on adding more complicated ops in. If anything, I want as little operations inside of my company as possible, and Elon Musk will talk about this, because I want as little complexity in the business as possible. I know that as the business grows, complexity will naturally creep in. I want to keep everything as simple as possible. I want to kiss it, keep it stupid simple. If you can see it still, I want to kiss it. I want to do 3 things every single day: generate, liquidate, and engage. And if I do those 3 things every day over a long enough time horizon, it's inevitable that I will succeed in terms of what I define success as in business. But that is also going back to the 2-hour rule that we created before. That is how I know how to spend my 2 hours. I failed at abiding to this principle for a long, long time. And I use the word failed as a pretty hard word here, because I would look at how I spent days or weeks years ago, even a year ago of my time. I would spend a week doing something that a year later or 6 months later had no attribute or effect on the business. Or if anything, it was out of date and not even used anymore. Don't work for the sake of working. Be diligent with the work. Understand that your job at its core, you have a job. It's simple. 3 things: generate attention, liquidate attention with good sales and marketing, and then service the clients that you're selling. This is embarrassing, but my SD card got full during that recording. I was saying 3 things you have to do every single day. Keep it super simple, stupid simple. Generate attention, liquidate attention, engage attention. If you haven't done all 3 of those, you're not done with work for the day. If anything is keeping you from doing one of those 3 things, you have to assess whether or not it's worth it. My litmus test for doing that is, will doing this have any kind of positive effect on the business in 1 year? And if it's not going to have positive effect in a year, it's not worth doing. Once you're done with all 3 of those for the day, end your day. Go live life. Keep it simple. Love you guys much. As always, I'll see you tomorrow. Till next time, happy hunting.